down what I probably deem to be the most helpful tips for anybody that's new to Madden or an intermediate player that may just not know this. It can be really helpful to your game. So the first thing we're going to want to do, just call any play. And this one's going to be a lot of blocking. And one thing you'll see is sometimes you'll give up. If you're feeling like you're just getting sacked immediately, on some plays and you don't understand why, right? They're just sending a normal 4-man rush or whatever, and they're just coming in untouched. One of the first thing you want to do is recognize that every play this year has a default pass protection. So right here you can kind of see this is empty because of the dashed lines, which are under our alignment, those gray lines. And so what you're going to want to do at the start of every play is always come out and do hit L1 and then left stick down to base protect. And this will look like that, which is those solid stems. This will prevent a lot of weird slides or people coming in untouched on kind of on random plays. It can just happen out of every play. Sometimes it'll be a slide, a full slide, empty protection, and you just kind of want to get rid of all of that. So our first big tip again is going to be every play you break the huddle, call base protection. Or if let's say you wanted to like slide right, ID this guy and block the running back or whatever, right? Like you want to set up weird pass protection, right? Set up your pass protection, but if you don't set up pass protection as a base 4-man rush, make sure you're base protecting, because if not, you're gonna have people come in kind of free. Right, so we just want to do that, and that's kind of going to be our that first big tip is going to be please set up your base protection. I cannot tell you how many times I've been sacked. Play the biggest culprit for me. I'm a big Oregon State guy as far as playbooks go. Is double post right here, and I'll show you why. So you can see how the line kind of slides to the right here. You see those blue little hooks to the right. Well, if I send 5 guys out here. Sometimes it won't happen every time. I'll kind of try to get a good demonstration. Let's see what happens this time. No, he got bumped. But sometimes that left edge, he shedded there. But sometimes he'll just run around untouched because my line has a default half slide right. So to show you guys, I base protect, right? And then I put my routes up. Let's ignore the route combo. But you can see how there's no half slide now. Now they're just picking everybody up. They're holding their ground. We still get shedded, but nobody's coming in completely untouched. So that's going to be our first big tip. Our second big tip is going to be understanding how RPOs work. And not, do I throw the ball to the pitch or not? So what I mean is if we call, let me try to find a good one here. We're looking for any RPO that's a read RPO. I believe it's in here, maybe? Yeah, so you see RPO read bubble. And so that's going to do, let me just call, I don't know, cover 3 match, whatever. So you see this read key, how he's on the defensive end. So for this play, it's not going to do anything because, our read key's on the D end, he'll play it, the D end's going to make the right decision, the corner's going to come out here and kind of make a play. Well, that's not really going to be a problem, but what will be a problem, and why you want to be aware of if you're on offense where the read key is, or if you're on defense where, you think the read key is going to be, is let's call Y off trips weak, which has, I believe, where is our RPO? Oh, it's Y off trips nasty, my bad. RPO read, Y flat, again, read, right? So, well, if you come out in, we have 6-1-ers. 6-1's a common formation, this is a problem. But if you come out like double mug, right? Okay. So the read key is the defensive end. So what this tells you is, that the cornerback over R1 is going to get blocked because he's going to play the pass, right? So no matter what he does, right? Like I'll show you right here. I'm going to go put this guy in a hard flat. He should guard the RPO, right? Watch, he's in a hard flat. But watch what happens because he's the read key, and then the safety's manned up on him so the safety can't get to him. He freezes at the snap. See how he just doesn't respond to anything? And that's because he's labeled as the read key. So part of it is, as an offense, if you see something like this, where the guy that's manned up on him is the safety back here who's not close enough to make a play anyway, you don't actually have to read, there's a real player. You don't actually have to read the safety or read the user. You just read. It sounds kind of dumb, but you read the read key because he's going to freeze. No matter what adjustments they make, he's going to freeze. And what this means from a defensive side is, don't ever, if you're noticing someone's freezing like that, don't waste your time putting him in a hard flat because it's not going to do anything. What you'd probably want to do here to stop it, for example, would be to do a hard flat, something like this, and then hope that this hard flat kind of gets over. You see how it messes up the blocking. So there's just, be aware of who your read keys are on read RPOs. That's also why if you want to find RPOs that are generally considered glitched or broken by the community, it's always read RPOs because of how that works. Our next tip is going to be a defensive one. I love a defensive tip. Is going to be, it sounds obvious, but set your coach suggestions. You want to go option read key generally on conservative. So if they do like a read option, your DN takes away the quarterback, and then you kind of shoot the run. Pitch key, we want aggressive because generally the running backs, the better, they're trying to pitch the ball out, so we take that away. Read key, we want to go on conservative on RPOs, and pass key, we want to go on conservative. And so this will do, the pass key changes that pitch icon to play the pass and not dumb out and go play the run. And then it changes the read key in an RPO to stop the quarterback. Because there's been some plays, I remember there's one last year at a Trips where you call read RPO and then the quarterback would just keep it and the whole defense would dumb out. So our third tip is going to be set your read keys. It should be conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. Oh, that's going to be a big one. Our second defensive tip here is going to be, if you're getting hit with a lot of seam streaks, especially like bunch or whatever, put your safeties on close. So they get closer to the line of scrimmage. So you're not just, they're not standing 20 yards back just giving up everything. If you're playing a runner, put them on tight. Or if you're like 4th and 30, make sure you're using the safety depth. Very important. And then our last defensive tip is going to be, if you're calling a lot of cover 3 blitzes, so every cover 3 blitz in the game, like nickel overload 3, LB blitz 3, you see how those purple zones are more pinkish almost versus cover 3 sky, how they're a darker purple. What that tells you is all these blitzes run match coverage. Match coverage can be good. If you know what you're doing and you want it to match, that's cool. But oftentimes you don't. So all you want to do to remove match coverage is shade down or up. Either way works. Up or down removes the match coverage. And then nobody on the field will match. Just to prove you, again, these hard flats play real hard flats. So they get out there, nobody matched to anybody. It just canceled all the match for every player on the field. So if you're noticing you're blitzing a lot out of zone or just calling a zone blitz and you really like to stunt, you're like, why is everybody matching? Shade down or shade up, and that'll remove a lot of it. And then my last tip is going to be for offense. So it's really helpful in the red zone. There a lot of things that are really good in the red zone. These return plays, I'm just going to tell you as a general tip, just utilize them, right? Let's say let's say we're going against mid blitz, nickel double mug, right? Flip plays on the right side of the field. So our tight end's on this little motion return, and it may not seem, very show you the player, it may not seem super helpful, but when you watch him move, it's gonna kind of, if let's say they're trying to zone out that safety, it kind of dumbs them out, and then watch the speed boost he gets out of it. I mean, you're getting like 3-4 yards, right, or 2-3 yards, which if you're on the goal line. Right, let me just go show you on the goal line. It's almost a free touchdown. So if you're playing somebody that's a big man game, let's say you get to like the 2.5 or whatever, right? Well, we come out here, they're in mid blitz, right? We're gonna press shade down. I'm shading down. I promise you, it's mid blitz, right? Let's just make sure I don't get sacked. Let's kind of ignore the rest of the route combo, but just watch this route. It kind of moves the safety around in a weird way, and then the tight end, you just hit the flat out here, and you're getting a few yards, generally speaking. Also, the other thing these return routes are really good for. Is kind of messing up somebody's coverage, right? So if he's sitting here, let's say this guy wants to play coverage, right? And he's like, all right, I adjusted, I put cover 2 on the, hard flats and vertical hooks. Well, watch what happens to the defense. I'm going to get sacked here because, I can't play both sides of the ball, but I just want to show you the player, right? The offense goes to snap, and watch where this hook curl goes. The hook curl for the left side of the field is on the wrong side of the screen, right? So again, let's ignore the route combo. I mean, I just ran 7 drags in the same part of the field, but it can really mess them up if they're coming. A lot of people come out in this man coverage, and it just really messes up their adjustment. So that's another tip is, find return routes or motion routes to utilize. They can be really good, especially like motion wheels. I believe there's one in Y off trio close. Yeah, motion wheel. Let me just respot the ball and show you guys what this will do. So. A lot of players will run stock man, and even that gives you kind of a good advantage. But let's say that they try to adjust out of it. They're doing something like this, right? They're kind of making it like a cover 2. They're adjusting, right? Well, this looks like it looks like a normal cover 3 with clouds, right? But watch what happens. Just put a decent route coming through. Watch what happens when I do a motion. Well, now my outside third is on the complete wrong side of the field. Right? So, while I didn't have a streak to take advantage of it, it really makes them panic. Or if they're doing this, all you want to do, right? Let me do that again for you guys. I got something like this, right? Kind of a cover 3 look. Well, if I know that they're doing that, Well, then I put a streak on the field here, and watch what happens. Let me snap the ball real quick. Because his third wants to run all the way across the field, right? You just go boom, boom, and you're scoring free touchdowns. So that's kind of what I mean by if you play someone who's using man, it's more of an advanced tip if you notice they're coming out in man alignment, and you can kind of tell when they're, on top, like this is not a normal zone alignment. But if you're playing somebody who likes to adjust out of it, like this, again, just to show you one more time, make sure to take advantage, punish them for doing that, Make them come out in zone if they want to run zone so their players don't, because again, we go here, boom, 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 right? So, really punish them. But I think those are 5 really helpful tips to, whether you're an intermediate player, there's some new advice, kind of just base blocking, or how to really abuse, more advanced tip, how to abuse people that adjust out of man coverage and like mid blitz or 5-2 or something.